Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another random review. Today's random review comes from 1936 and it's Fury by Fritz Lang, starring Sylvia Sidney and Spencer Tracy. I almost called him Dick Tracy there for a second. I recently got this in the HMV 2 for 15 on the Warner Archive label. This comes with a commentary by Peter Bogdanovich and some audio excerpts from a 1975 interview with Lang, or might be 65, which is fascinating. So this was Fritz Lang's first American film. He left Germany, went to France and made a film with Charles Boyer, and then this was his first film for MGM, which, as Peter Bogdanovich mentions, it's a bit of a strange choice for MGM because they were kind of the light, happy studio, and Fury is fairly scathing. Spencer Tracy, Sylvia Sidney, who sadly is probably more famous for much later being in Beetlejuice than actually being a wonderful actor in the 30s, and then she kind of disappeared for a while. But she's fantastic in this. So they're two ordinary people. The film opens with them window shopping and looking at his and hers beds after marriage, because obviously married couples didn't sleep in the same bed in Hollywood. I'm sure they did many other things in Hollywood that normal people don't do. And their plan is to get married. They kind of split up, and he's going to meet her. He's going to come out west to meet her, but he gets stopped in the road by a sheriff's deputy because they somehow think he's involved in a kidnapping, and it leads to whispers and rumours amongst the small town that he's involved in this kidnapping, and the whole town goes mad, turns into a mob, and things escalate badly until the police station is on fire and Spencer Tracy is in trouble. It's fascinating that this, apparently it did make its money back, it made a bit of a profit, but I can't imagine it being that popular at the time, because it's a scathing indictment of mob culture, American small town beliefs, the American justice system, small mind thinking, because Spencer Tracy's character, as with all these characters that get involved in things like this, they're idealistic and have this view of justice and America being wonderful and justice prevails, and then something happens to them like this and it's like all bets are off. Spencer Tracy, who usually plays kind of upright, ethical, wonderful, sturdy characters, kind of idealistic Americans, if you like, the ideal of America. He actually shows a bit of fury off here. He actually shows a bit of rage, a bit of his dark side, which you don't see that often with Spencer Tracy. Again, I'm not a huge Spencer Tracy fan. Again, I thought his Jekyll and Mr. Hyde wasn't great. It was okay, but he wasn't great in the role, I don't think. Whereas he is excellent in Fury. I have to give him that. Plus the fact it was like an outsider's, the script was co-written by Lang, so it's kind of an outsider's view of not only America but small town America. And small town America does not come off well in this film. I mean, it's 1936, so you can perhaps figure out how it's going to end, but it does go to fairly unflattering places. It's not particularly kind to the brutality of mob rule, mob thinking. There's some wonderful little performances. Walter Brennan, a younger Walter Brennan is in it, who's always well worth watching. There's familiar faces that you wouldn't recognise their names. It's really tight. I mean, when it gets to the courtroom later on in the film, it perhaps slows down a little, but there's lots of entertaining moments even within the courtroom scene. Sidney and Tracy, as I said, are absolutely fantastic. But, fortunately, mob rules and mob mentality doesn't exist anymore in society. So, it's not relevant now or anything. Again, people will say, why on earth do you watch films from the 30s and 40s? It's like, yeah, because they're still relevant. That's why, because we haven't changed, we haven't moved on. Along the way, he meets a nice little dog called Rainbow, which looks suspiciously a lot like Toto from The Wizard of Oz, which is obviously after Fury. Yeah, I don't want to go into specifics, but there's great moments, there's great actors. That was great actors. But there's great action scenes. It's a really dynamic little film. But it's just wonderful to see the arc that Spencer Tracy's character goes on, from being this idealistic, everything's going to work out, to being somewhat jaded and furious by the whole thing. Yeah, it's well worth checking out. It has been rated a 12, which, for mild threat, violence and discriminatory language, yeah, it's a cracking little film, and for Fritz Lang's first American picture, it kind of bangs his fist on the table and says, "Get a load of me." Wait until I do the big heat. Yeah, well worth checking out, and if you can get it in the sale for £7.50, I mean, what do you get for £7.50 nowadays, apart from a Blu-ray of Fritz Lang's Fury with Sylvia Sidney and Spencer Tracy, not Dick Tracy. Yeah, the way Lang lights some of the townspeople's faces, the sheer glee in their eye, because that's the whole thing of mob culture. There's so many of them, individuals can't get picked out. They just become one whole organism, like the Blob. But obviously when you're away from that situation, back in your normal life, you wouldn't act like that. But obviously once you get that anonymity of the mob, we've seen it so many times, human beings will do terrible, terrible things to each other if they think they can get away with it. Yeah, so no lesson that we can glean today from this film from 1936. No. Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful, and I would highly recommend you check it out if you haven't already. Obviously plenty of you will have seen this already, but it was a wonderful breath of fresh air, and the film looks really good on Blu-ray. So thanks very much for watching. Please let me know if you've seen Fury and did it make you furious, and please let me know. So thanks very much for watching. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.